So that, you know, a lot of fruits are like that. They contain both types. So in terms of fiber supplements, most of them contain mostly soluble fiber. So Metamucil, for example, is psyllium, which you see above is soluble fiber. A lot of them do have both types, but it's almost impossible to know how much of each type of fiber is in a fiber supplement. The reason I bring this up is that a lot of times when I talk to people, they want to know which fiber supplement to take for constipation. And if you are already constipated or having an acute bout of constipation, I don't recommend fiber supplements. They are really better used routinely to help maintain a normal bowel schedule. So that's fiber. I'm gonna take a drink of water, 1 second. Okay. So moving on to protein. Protein is very popular. People love to talk about protein. People love to eat protein. It's probably the most popular macronutrient. It does provide energy, which we know all macronutrients do. However, protein is also really the building blocks of our muscles and our skeletal muscles, our smooth muscles, and many other tissues. So our big biceps, our skeletal muscle, our smooth muscles are our organs. Our heart is a very strong muscle that needs protein. And then other tissues like nails, hair, things like that are made up of proteins as well. So similar to carbohydrates, proteins are too big to absorb in their main form. So during digestion, our enzymes break those proteins down into amino acids, which are the smallest pieces of a protein that can be absorbed into the bloodstream. Once those amino acids are in the blood, they get circulated around to all those different tissues where they get repackaged as full proteins that are needed, whatever the location is. So if you just did a big workout, those amino acids are going to go to your big bicep, repackage itself as skeletal muscle, and help rebuild that muscle. Same thing, ongoing basis, your proteins or your amino acids are going to go to your nails and hair, which are constantly growing, and you're going to be creating proteins out of those amino acids for your skin and hair. Proteins can be used as energy. This is a process called gluconeogenesis, or glucose new creation. So what happens is when the body does not have enough carbohydrate or enough glucose, we are able to take an amino acid and turn it into glucose to use for energy. Now you can probably imagine that this is not ideal because that will take those amino acids away from the tissues that really need them to rebuild. So while we can use proteins as energy, it's not ideal. And that's why carbohydrates, we still love those for energy. Proteins do come from both plant and animal sources. So animal sources of proteins are meats and poultry, fish, eggs, dairy. And then plants, we have soy, which comes in many forms, tofu, edamame, tempeh, soy milk. You know, there's a million different soy products out there. Nuts and seeds, beans and legumes, dark leafy greens. Whole grains are also somewhat high in protein. So it is very possible, it's actually completely possible for a vegetarian person to get enough protein from plants. The more important thing for vegetarians is that they're eating a variety of these plant sources to make sure they're getting all the essential amino acids. But that is a common misconception that vegetarians are protein deficient, and most of them are not. If they are, they just might not know how to eat properly. So that's protein. Okay, moving on to the third and final macronutrient, which is our fats. So fats, we used to have to mourn for them, but they've had a resurgence. I'm very happy for fats. A lot of people used to be scared of them, but people are really finding, you know, a lot of the benefits from healthy fats. So in addition to energy, fats also provide a lot of satiety or satisfaction. A lot of flavor in our food comes from fat. And when we have a diet or a meal that's low in fat, we tend to feel less satisfied. So a very important function of fat. Fats also help with hormone production and signaling. We also have fats in our cell membranes that keep them very fluid and soft. fats are from plants and animals. Some plant sources are avocados, nuts, seeds, olives, plant oils, which we see a lot of. And then animals, meats and poultry contain fats, fish, dairy, and eggs. Now you can probably imagine plant and animal sources of fat do vary in terms of what types of fats are in them. And the type of fat does matter. So saturated fats may negatively impact heart health, and we know that trans fats are very unhealthy